Here's more on the $1.1 billion support package announced by MOF. It will be funded by reallocating underused funds and fiscal resources set aside earlier. Let's take a look at the highlights. From July 22nd to August 18th, the Jobs Support Scheme wage subsidies will be raised to 60% for sectors forced to suspend many or all of their activities. These include F&B businesses, gyms, fitness studios and performing arts organizations. Other significantly affected sectors like retail and hotels will receive 40% wage support. Meanwhile, workers who were placed on involuntary no-pay leave will get a payout of up to $700, while those who've lost at least 50% of their income for at least 1 month will receive up to $500. The payouts are part of the COVID-19 Recovery Grant Temporary, which has been extended until August 31st. Current recipients of the grant can apply for a second payout if they continue to require assistance. Eligible tenants on commercial properties will also get additional help with rent payments. The government will waive 4 weeks of rental for qualifying tenant on government-owned commercial properties and provide a 2-week rental relief cash payout for privately owned commercial properties. President of the Restaurant Association of Singapore, Andrew Kwan, joins me now. Welcome back to the show, Andrew. Enhanced JSS wage support and rental relief for commercial properties. Now, these should provide some respite for your members in the short term. But what about in the longer term, Andrew?
Well, I think first of all, we want to thank the government for coming in a very timely fashion as well with the support measures. There's really no tomorrow if today is not salvaged. So I think the measures just been announced for the GSS is not just appreciated, it is actually very needful as well. And thanks to the many behind the scenes who have worked this package very rapidly. But your question revolves around what happens the day after tomorrow when these measures are lifted. Does it mean that businesses can continue to operate? I think we need to look at the more fundamental cost drivers, and this is maybe the best of time to look at how we can change our business model to be more resilient. And I'm referring in particular to some of the major cost drivers. I think the manpower part will remain. We can try to adopt technologies to make it such that it's more manpower lean and more efficient. Then we look at the cost of goods, which is really your raw materials, but those are oftentimes commodities and there's a market price that does not fluctuate too much. But what is key really is the rental cost. It's currently a fixed element that is very heavy and weighs very heavily on all the small business operators and for food and beverage companies. When we have external shocks, like what we have seen in the last 16 months now since the pandemic has started, and the rental component remains fixed, then it is very difficult. It's almost like an anchor that doesn't go away even when you are trying to surface and you're trying to keep afloat. So if there's a way for us to find a model whereby the rental structure is made a lot more flexible, that rises and falls with the ebb and flows of the external environment, then we will find ourselves a formula to be a lot more resilient as a restaurant operator. But it really requires two hands to come together. Both the landlord as well as the tenant, I think both has a role to play. And I would like to say at this time, and I would like to appreciate and acknowledge those landlords who have actually stepped forward very quickly. There are some of these landlords have extended some help already, and we appreciate that and we want to acknowledge that. But at the same time, there are unfortunately many others who have not yet been able to step forward to assist and to work together with their tenants as well. And we would like to appeal and like to encourage both parties to come together so that we can all emerge out of this crisis stronger together.
Andrew, with dining-in restrictions expected to last until August 18th, How are your members holding up, and how worried are they about their business outlook?
I think it's a whole spectrum of different operators out there. You have the slightly larger players, you have the medium size, and you have the smaller ones. And I would like to say that all of them have been impacted quite, to a large extent, quite badly. This pandemic has lasted 16 months and counting. We don't know how long further it's going to run its course, and there are many twists and turns, as we have seen. And this is now the third occasion whereby restaurant operators have been asked to completely shut down and not to have any sort of dine-ins apart from delivery and takeaways. So it has worn out, I think, a lot of these companies, whether you're small, you're medium, you're large, a lot of the reserves have actually been utilized over the period of time. So I think the concern right now immediately is the present requirements to keep operations going, to pay the staff so that we don't have to have any loss of employment. I think that's foremost in the minds of many of the business operators. And we are concerned with the livelihoods that's put in our hands. It's a question of stewardship, and we want to make sure, insofar as we can, to keep the vessel afloat. But for the smaller players, I think the announcement by the government has been very timely and very needful, as I mentioned earlier, without which I don't think we will be able to even plan to look ahead beyond the 18th of August.
Thank you, Andrew, for your time and for coming on to the show. That was Andrew Kwan, President of the Restaurant Association of Singapore. Separately, Enterprise Singapore will reintroduce the food delivery booster package to help F&B operators, including hawkers, defray part of the operating costs in offering food delivery. The package covers 5 percentage points of the commission cost charged by food delivery platforms and 20% of the delivery costs for orders made through third-party logistics partners. Affected hawkers and market stall holders in centres managed by the National Environment Agency or its appointed operators will receive a one-time $500 cash payout. This is on top of 1 month's worth of rental waivers and subsidies for table cleaning and dishwashing fees. To support taxi and private hire car drivers, the government will double the payouts that drivers are currently receiving. From July 22nd to August 31st, eligible drivers will receive $20 per vehicle a day and $10 per vehicle a day in September.